Hello, this is going to be a demonstration on YouTube and how to best optimize a video for your class so that you can upload it to YouTube, and then how to put your videos into a playlist. So here I have the full recording of me teaching differential equations as uploaded on the YouTube channel. I went through and edited this like I showed in the other video, trimmed it down, took out various parts. There was a good chunk somewhere where I had to run upstairs for something. I think it was right here. Yeah, there I had to run upstairs for something real quick, so I edited that whole part out. So this is the fully edited file, which I got by going up here whenever it was done, and I exported it as a file. Then I re-imported it so that it was all in one chunk. Now I am limited, and all of you also will be limited to uploading 15-minute videos maximum to YouTube. So what I'm going to do is go through and click. This whole thing is about 45 minutes, 44 and a half minutes. So I want about a third of the way through. I'll click about there, and you can see that's at 16 minutes and 29 seconds. And I have to be below 15 minutes. I'd encourage you to be probably like about 15 seconds at least, under 15 minutes just to be safe. So see, that's only 13. 14:36 is pretty good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a note of that time, whether just mentally or on the side. I'm going to split the clip right there. I'm going to delete all the rest. So now I just have this 14-minute and 36-second clip. I'm going to come up here, export to YouTube. I'll name it Differential Equations Part 1. Part 1. And then I can put any kind of description I want, blah, blah, blah. We talked about this part in the last video. I'll click Next and then Publish. I'm not going to because I've already uploaded it. You'll have a progress bar here. It shouldn't take too terribly long for just a sub 15-minute video. However, that is completely dependent upon your internet connection. I've talked to a couple people about this already, but if you have about a 15-minute video like this one and you're exporting it at 1080p, which we talked about before, I believe you can make it a smaller file by uploading in a lower resolution, although I wouldn't recommend going below 720p. You can see that this is 1.11 gigabytes, and if I changed it to 1080p, it would be 1.66 gigabytes. And that about half of a gigabyte will make a reasonable difference. Shouldn't be drastic, but depending on your Wi-Fi speed, it could make a significant difference. If you see something that says, about 2 hours remaining or something like that, don't be terribly alarmed. These 15-minute videos on my home Wi-Fi took about 30 to 45-ish minutes at 1080p. I'm running on a roughly 50 megabit per second internet connection. If you aren't sure what your internet connection is, if you call your internet service provider and ask them, then they will obviously tell you that, and I can tell you if that's how that stacks up. But roughly, I suspect most people don't have any more than 100 megabits per second. Anything above 10 is pretty good. Anything below 10 is going to be pretty slow. But really, that 50 range is a pretty good place to be, and 100 is great. You can always test your current internet connection speed, which could vary depending on how close you are to the router and how much other traffic is going on. If you just type in internet speed test, then you'll get this, and this is just run from Google. And so you can see it's going to test my speed right now. So my router is capable of pushing out 50 megabits per second, but we've got some phones on here. Other people are using the Wi-Fi at the moment, and so my download speed is about 35 megabits per second, and my upload speed is about 25 or so, and then it'll test my ping as well. You don't have to worry about what all those numbers mean necessarily, but generally when we talk about internet connection speed, we talk about your download speed. And so this is fine for a 15-minute video. That's going to mean it's going to upload at about 30 to 45-ish minutes for a 15-minute video at 1080p. If you have a really fast internet, like 1,000 megabits per second or something, then it might only take a couple of minutes, but that is not very common. So once you've uploaded this particular video, this is like part 1 of my video, what I'm going to do is just delete that. Remember, I made a note somewhere that this is a 14-minute, I believe it was 36 seconds, 14-minute, 36-second video. I'm going to drag down the source file again. I'm going to cut 14 minutes and 36 seconds off. So I'm going to come down to and find 14 minutes and 36 seconds. I might give myself just a little bit of overlap just to be safe. That's pretty good, so I'm going to split the clip right there. I'm going to cut out that first part. And now I need this middle part to be only about 15 minutes again. So I'm just going to cut from the back until I get down to below 15 minutes, which you can see right here. It's about 14.7. So now I'll export this. I'll name it part 2, so on and so forth. And now I'm going to remember this is 14 minutes and 44 seconds. The last one was 14 minutes and 36 seconds. So to do some quick math for you, that's going to come out to 29 minutes and 20 seconds. And so then I'm going to delete this. I'm going to drag this down. I'm going to find about 29 minutes and 20 seconds. Hey, that was pretty close. And this is pretty good. That's about 30 seconds extra, but that's okay. I'm going to cut out all the beginning part, and now this is 15 minutes and 15.7 minutes. So it's 15 minutes and 44 seconds. It's a little extra, and I'm still going to be over 15 minutes, even if I cut off a few seconds at the front. And I could always go back and edit and cut, maybe 30 or 45-ish seconds out of the video. But if I really just need to leave it like it is, then I would suggest just taking this last part, cutting it roughly down the middle. For my video, I waited till I got through this first part of this example. This example was kind of parts 1, 2, and 3. So I will let myself get through part 1, and then I put 2 and 3 in a separate video. So again, I would just, if I wanted to do that right here, let's say I would just split it, delete it, and then upload part 3. And then a handy trick, if you press Command Z or Edit and then undo split, you can get this part back. If I right click on it and cut, then it'll go away. I can upload this part, and then once that's uploaded, I can just paste it back in, delete that part, and then I can just upload this remaining part, just to make that a little easier for you. Once those are all uploaded to YouTube or Google Drive, once you did a file or however you wanted to do it, but if you're using YouTube, then I'm going to come in here to youtube.com. I'm going to go to my channel by clicking on my name and then clicking my channel. You can see I've got all 4 videos right here. So what I'm going to do is pick the first video. There's these 3 dots right here. I'm going to click on that and then save to playlist. So I'm going to create a new playlist. The playlist name is going to be differential equations. I want my privacy to be public so that anyone can find it. I'm going to create. So now this is part of a new playlist that I just made, so I'll go over to part 2, save to playlist. Oops, not that one, I want differential equations. There we go. Save to playlist, differential equations. You can see it says added to differential equations. So there isn't like a save button, but there is that added to differential equations pop up. So that's what you want to watch for to make sure and have the peace of mind that it worked. So now I'm going to go into my Google Classroom just to show you how I'm going to organize all these things in one. So I've created an assignment already named 6.4 differential equations. I want to edit this assignment. I've already got my Google Slides uploaded. So what I'm going to do is this differential equations playlist is what I want. I'm going to right click on that. I'm going to click copy link address. If I add link, then I've got a link to my YouTube video. I can also do YouTube URL, paste the file, and it's going to work just fine. Oh, file already attached. There you go. So if I click on this now, let's see what it brings up. Ooh, that is a little rough. So if your students see this and they can start watching the video, you can also just click this YouTube button, and then it'll bring you to where you can watch the video on YouTube, and you don't have to worry about students being able to access YouTube depending on their restriction settings, because we took care of that. Now you can see this did not link me to the playlist. However, the students can click on my name, and then they'll be able to see all my videos here. Now, you might be thinking, well, what if they have a hard time finding all the videos? And this is very true and something that you definitely need to take into account. So I could go in and link all the parts of my video separately if I wanted to. Or I could put in here, I could say part 1, a link, part 2, a link, and so on. But I wouldn't worry about that terribly much. Definitely make sure that all of your materials are linked to your students. But our students will likely be more adept at using YouTube than we are. That doesn't mean that that's going to be true for all students, but I imagine several or many students in any given class are going to be able to navigate YouTube at least reasonably well. So if it's a really big challenge for you, then I wouldn't worry about it too much unless a student reaches out to you and says, hey, I can't find the other videos. Okay, now there is an additional PDF that I haven't scanned yet that I'm going to upload to this, but that's pretty much what my completed lesson is going to look like. I've scheduled it to post on Tuesday, which I'm actually going to change that to, not to the 31st, I'm going to change it to this Wednesday because that's a Navy day. And I don't want it to post at midnight either. I want it to post at, let's just say, 8 a.m. Because who doesn't want to wake up bright and early and start working on calculus? I assigned it to the topic units 6 and 7, and then that's it. I have my presentation ready so they can follow along. I've got my video linked, and I have my handwritten work as well, same stuff I put on the whiteboard that I'm going to attach to this as well. I use homework through Pearson Math Excel. It's very similar to iExcel. It's made by the same company. And so that's how I'm going to be collecting work. I also have students take pictures of their scratch work for math, and then I have them upload that and post it on Google Classroom. That accompanies Math Excel, which I've been doing that all year, but I think that that'll work pretty seamlessly with this online learning stuff. So if you have any additional questions, I just wanted to throw this video out there to give you some extra help with YouTube. We talked about recently Pear Deck, and as a couple people have pointed out, Pear Deck's features are really most useful for live learning. So if you're going to be doing pre-recorded stuff, as I did here, then the live aspects may not really come into play like you would like them to. But I still plan to use Pear Deck in my Google Slides, if nothing else because I like the prompt of students reflecting on their work, even if it's not actively typing something out. You could also link a Google form, which I also plan to do weekly, to gauge where students are at, in addition to the Zoom conferencing we talked about in our all-staff meeting this morning. But that's all for this video. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope that this was helpful.